super, my friend Emma
Yeah, we got
was
one.
like,
Yeah, the kicker.
she's standing it up, she's going, she was nuts. Fantasy football.
Had a ticket
Say,
on the Lamb
start off at
anytime touchdown.
let him kick.
Scored touchdown.
Let him go for a 90-yarder or whatever.
He might make it.
Yeah.
Overtime.
They were in the game. I don't know if you wanted to find the line.
Who cares? Let him swing that leg. Yeah, that fool.
That's been a hot minute.
Just automatic.
For some reason, Facebook isn't working.
I know.
I'm not gonna go see. Swapping back and forth, so
Not
it's
working
gonna be
here.
try.
Good call for Stewart, you know, just.
Yeah, and Amy's so.
There's a way that you can see what you're on though, right? Yeah. Oh, no, not yet.
Easily.
It's the preview, but
Yeah, he put a full leg in there.
That's cool.
When you go back and forth though, you know which one you're on, right?
Crazy. That's really.
I see this all the time.
They changed
So I don't know.
software that manages the whole school.
That's all.
For some reason,
They didn't have a soft launch, they just had a hard. Part two of the course.
oh, so they're either gonna
Now,
see up there.
no, they're in part two.
Okay, unless I can figure it out. Okay.
Yeah,
We're recording now.
it's just a.
Alright, good, because it is 6 o'clock. It is 6 o'clock, so I call to order this special meeting of the Paradise City Council. Can I get a roll call, please?
John Ward, present.
Matthew Whitten, present.
Amanda Black here.
Cody Cook here.
All pots here.
Alright, we do have a quorum. Let's all stand for the pledges and invocation, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor this Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Coach, would you please do the invocation?
Thank you. Father God, we come to you this evening and we just want to thank you for the opportunity that you give us each and every day. Thank you for all the blessings. We ask that you guide and direct us through this meeting. And thank you for your son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, Mr. Williford, take it away.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Beginning off, as always, with our important dates. We have plenty of events to keep y'all busy over the next couple weeks. Obviously, y'all are here today for the special session. Today is only to discuss the budget and the tax rate for the upcoming fiscal year. That's all we're discussing today. Coming up a week from now, on Monday, we have our regular council meeting. We will be posting the agenda for that council meeting tomorrow. And then on the 26th, we have our strategic planning session with Mr. Ron Cox. It's going to be here from 9 a.m. until we finish. The quorum will be present. There will be a posted notice so that anyone from the public who wishes to attend may. On the 27th, there's the Main Street Festival. And then we have Columbus Day leading into the regular council meeting at the end of October. Going into our election dates, we have passed all of the preliminary administrative items for this November's election. And so all that is left now is for voting to take place between October 20th and November 4th. We'll hold the canvass at a special meeting on the 10th and then swear in whichever members of the council are elected on November 17th. Do I have any questions about any of those dates? Today is a special meeting only to discuss the fiscal year 2026 budget, so I will provide a brief to give you all updates on this budget that you have before you. We will have no consent items, and we will move right into public hearings and the voting for the budget and tax rate. Ma'am?
Continue.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give an overview over the way that the budgeting process works in a municipality, and then I'm going to go into the details for each of these funds that we have within the city. And so, by law, a city is not like a business. In a business, you can collect all of your revenues that you get from different sources, and you can put it all into one pot. And they use a system, either cash accounting or accrual-based accounting. And you can take money that comes in one arm of your business and devote that money towards another arm of your business, no problem. But in a municipality, it's not like that. There are different funds. A fund is a set of revenues and expenditures that are self-balancing. And we have 5 of them. Okay? So for example, we have the general fund. The general fund has a certain amount of revenues that come from property tax, sales tax, court fees, and franchise agreements, and so forth. We collect that money for a certain purpose, and then we can spend that money for activities related to the general fund. Separately, for example, we have the water fund. The revenues for the water fund come from the water bills that are paid on a monthly basis. But we can't take money from the water fund and spend it on general fund items. Water fund revenues have to be spent on water fund expenditures. Court revenues have to be spent on court expenditures, and so on. And so a lot of people will ask, well, you have so much money saved up in this pot, why don't you spend it on this project that I want done? And the answer to that question usually is because that money is in that fund for a certain type of project, and we can't swap it around willy-nilly. Okay. So in Paradise, we have multiple funds, but there are 2 main categories of funds. There are governmental funds, and there are proprietary funds. So governmental funds are financed through property and sales tax, court fees, fines, etc. Those are the funds that go into the general fund, the consolidated court fund, and the capital projects fund. And what is the difference between a governmental fund and a proprietary fund? Well, a proprietary fund is expected to pay for itself, whereas a governmental fund has activities that are paid for through taxes. Okay, so all the items within the governmental fund are paid through sales tax, property tax, franchise agreements, bond issuances, that sort of thing. They need external monies to pay for the activities that go into those accounts. Whereas a proprietary fund is self-supporting. And so all of the expenses that we have coming out of water should be paid by water. We shouldn't need to transfer money out of taxes to pay for water. Okay, and so that's how we divide up those 2 types of funds. Now, we have 3 governmental funds, and I'm going to go through all of these funds in this brief. In the governmental funds, we have the general fund, that's the big one that everyone knows and cares about. We have the consolidated court fund that deals with technology and security in the municipal court. And we have the capital projects fund, which is intended for large 5 to 6 to 7 digit cost projects. And the proprietary funds, like I mentioned, these are self-supporting funds. They're supposed to pay for their own operations. In Paradise, we have 2 of these proprietary funds. The first one is the Water and Wastewater Fund, and the second one is the Water Impact Fund. And now I'm going to start going through each of these funds individually. Council, if you look in front of you, you're going to see multiple pieces of paper. If you hold up the one that says City of Paradise Annual Budget, that's all printed out and looks pretty. That's the one that everyone in the crowd has as well. Okay. This is the official budget document. That's going to be the permanent budget for the year. In addition to this document that's going to be filed in our permanent storage and accessible to everyone forever, you all have breakouts of individual line items that you can refer to if you have questions about what you're seeing on the document. Okay, so the first 2 pages are the revenues and expenditures for the general fund. The second 2 pages are the revenues and expenditures for the water and wastewater fund. I'm going to pause for a second just to make sure y'all are oriented to those pages. Okay. If there are no questions, I'm going to get started with the general fund. Now, the general fund is the big fund that is, it is the fund that collects, that receives the deposits from the county appraisal district for the ad valorem taxes. It is also the fund that receives the deposits from the state for the sales tax. The general fund is also the fund that receives franchise fees, license and permit fees, municipal court fines, and a bunch of miscellaneous sorts of revenues. The expenditures cover a whole wide gamut of operations. It covers our most of our personnel, most of the benefits for those personnel. It covers our maintenance on the road and street signs and the equipment that we have at the water tower. Pays for the maintenance of the water tower. It pays for everything. Getting into the details. So I want to give everyone an opportunity to come to this page if they desire to. And you're on the right page, and I'm sure everyone around you is as well. So to orient you, I know this is an eye chart to look at. It's difficult to look at it first. I'm going to orient you to this grid. Across the top, from left to right, you're going to see fiscal year 23 actual, fiscal year 24 actual, and onward to fiscal year 26 actual. So fiscal year 23 covers the fiscal year for 2023, which went from October 1st, 2022 until September 30th, 2023. Because our fiscal year goes from October to September. Okay? Similarly, fiscal year 24 goes from October 2023 till September 2024. Now those dates are all past. So we can look into our software, we can look into our accounting record and see exactly how much money was brought in and set out for those years. And so I can show you on the screen, that's the money that was received and expended in fiscal years 2023 and 2024. Now, fiscal year 2025 goes from October 1st, 2024 till September 30th, 2025, which means fiscal year 25 is not yet over. We still have a couple weeks in fiscal year 2025 that we might get more revenues and we might spend more money. In fact, there probably will be small interactions that take place as we close out the fiscal year. And so I can't give you the fiscal year 25 actual. What I can give you is the original budget that we had for fiscal year 2025 as compared to the actual counts that I had when I pulled the data a couple days ago. Okay, and then we get to fiscal year 26 proposed budget, which is the budget that's in front of you right now. This is the budget that's being proposed for approval tonight. So that's the layout from left to right. Now I'm going to lay you out from top to down. You see beginning fund balance. That's the amount of essentially cash that existed within that fund at the beginning of that year. You can see the revenues broken out into their various categories, items that were collected, and then it goes into expenditures, which is where the money was spent, and to the ending fund balance, which is the amount of cash that was on hand at the end of that fiscal year for that fund. Now, all of the funds I show you are going to have this information. In the general fund, the numbers are bigger than in the rest of the budget because the general fund is a bigger fund that receives more income and pays for more things. Now, the council over the past few years has done a good job of preparing for the future by building liquidity in the general fund. And we have cash in the general fund to handle emergencies, and it's a good thing to have. Despite the fact that we have a lot of cash, a comparatively high amount of cash on hand right now, the budget that's being proposed to y'all right now is a balanced budget in that our projected revenues exceed our expenditures. So we are proposing to gain slightly more revenues than we expend. So we should expect to see a modest increase in our fund balance at the end of this fiscal year, which is a responsible way to manage this money. Okay, so we've laid out the way that the grid works. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to look at fiscal year 26. I'm going to tell you the difference between fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 25, the significant changes that were made within this fund, and then pause and allow time for questions from the council. Okay, and so what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at court fines 2026. Court fines 2026, we're projecting at $2,000 because that's been what our standard projection has been for several years past. Now, our court situation has really changed over the past year because for a large portion of fiscal year 2025, our municipal court did not process any cases. And we were working out this interlocal agreement that we have with the city of New Fairview for municipal court services. And that only started back up at the beginning of August. So we've only had an up and running municipal court for about 5-6 weeks. And so it's really difficult to say what kind of revenues we can expect out of the court system. We're going to wait and see. I will tell you that since the beginning of August, when we started with our 1 hour a week with Boyd, we have collected 14 traffic tickets, which is more than several years, more than had been collected in the several years prior. Okay? I think the highest one was 45 miles an hour in a 20 mile per hour school zone. Okay? So it's a good thing. Holding up the council's strategic goal to bring police services into the community.
If you don't mind, be sure that y'all sign in too. Anyone over there? Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Get comfy.
No one wants to sit up.
I didn't think I smelled that bad. And so we're going to hold on and see. We have a $2,000 placeholder there, and it may come out to be $2,000. It may come out to be more. We will see how that fund progresses. Going into sales and beverage tax, we are continuing to hold steady at $410,000 prediction for the sales tax. We've had some ups and lows for the past few years, so that is an average calculation that we're using for projection purposes. When it comes to ad valorem taxes, we collected about $330,000 in ad valorem taxes last year. We did not see an appreciable increase in property values, and so we're going to hold steady with the same amount that we had this past year at $330,000. Getting into permits and fees, $60,000 seems to be pretty consistent. I'm sticking with that number as well. Franchise fees, same story at $41,000. Interest income. Okay, so this is a big difference maker in our budget. Previous to fiscal year 25, the cash on hand was being kept in a low interest savings account, and it's been transferred to a high yield savings account. Over the past year, the simple return on the investments has yielded $47,000 in interest alone, which is good. The city does have an interest policy, an investment policy that dictates the very conservative, very safe investments that the city is allowed to make. And we're expecting to see that going forward, unless, of course, the council elects to spend that cash, which the council can do, just as long as it's understood that if you spend the principal, you'll have reduced returns on the interest. Okay. That all adds up to about $882,975, pardon me. As you can see, that's about a $10,000 increase from our actual revenues from last year, which in terms of city budgets is very low. It's very low growth. Getting into expenditures. Okay, personnel. A lot happened in the personnel tab in this budget. So one of the big moves that we made within this personnel budget was to transfer the utilities clerk off of the general fund budget and onto the water budget. And so about $45,000 was taken out of the general fund budget for that purpose and was added to the water budget instead. So why did the number go up? Well, the number went up because y'all approved a number of personnel benefits to benefit the employees, to make sure that we attract and retain qualified employees that can serve the town well. And so that cost increase reflects the adoption of the short-term, long-term disability, dental, vision, the TMRS retirement plan participation, as well as the healthcare reimbursement plan that y'all directed me to adopt in this budget, and the part-time employee that we're looking at for next year. And so you see, we have squeezed a lot of blood out of that stone in this past year to stretch our dollars and use them as efficiently as we can. We've seen a drawdown in the supplies that we have to order, so we've taken that down as well to $22,550. Our maintenance costs. So you see a significant jump there from about $16,500 actual cost last year to a $72,000 projection this year. The reason that jumped so high is because that includes our $50,000 citizen involvement plan. And so we took a poll at the last council meeting to ask what kind of projects that the folks in Paradise would like to see. The answer, the preliminary answer that we got was that maybe we'd like to see a walking trail north of Old Town Estates to help students get to school safer. However, that is not the project that's been formally decided upon. We're still in the process of deciding what that project's going to be. At the Main Street Festival, there's going to be a survey that residents can, get in the QR code with their phone and let us know what kind of project they'd like to see. And in one of the coming weeks or months, the council can decide where they want that $50,000 to go inside the community. Our utilities have stayed pretty consistent, so we're leaving that at $21,100. Services have gone to $294,319. We've seen a slight reduction in engineering and lawyer costs, which is contributed a lot to that dip. And then internal services, $135,300. That is our contribution to the EDC. So that takes our total expenditure to $871,339.58. So we are projected to expend essentially all but $10,000 of what we collect this year. One thing that this general fund budget does not include, that y'all directed me to look at, was medical insurance, health insurance for the employees. This budget does not include health insurance for the employees because I have not been able to coordinate a reliable quote yet. However, if we still want to pursue health insurance for the employees, we have the $10,000 surplus that's left there, as well as the $15,000 we've set aside for health reimbursement, as well as the roughly $6,000 that are currently on my contract for health stipend. That comes out to, let me do math in public, $32,000-ish to cover health insurance if we choose to go that route. Do I have any questions when it comes to the general fund? Thank you. Going into the consolidated court fund. Now this fund is a little bit interesting because it's a new fund. Previously there used to be two separate funds, the Court Technology Fund and the Court Security Fund. In this past legislature, the state has decided that those two funds don't need to be separate anymore. They can now be combined. And so this is the first year that you're seeing a consolidated court fund with the City of Paradise. It's good timing because we are starting fresh with this new arrangement with not only New Fairview, but also the Wise County Sheriff's Office and the City of Boyd. And so we're going to see some interesting developments in this fund. Within the municipal court, whenever someone comes in with a misdemeanor that they have to go to the county court or the municipal court to get settled, the city is allowed to levy two different fees. One is a court technology fee, which is $4 per offense, and the other one is the court security fee, which is $3 per offense. So for every speeding ticket that gets paid for the city of Paradise, there's $7 in fees that we get to collect for these items. Now, these have to be spent on court-related costs. There's a whole list right there when it comes to the computers that they use, to the ticket writers, to the ticket books, to metal detectors, to the software on the computers, to the cost of hiring the judge and the prosecutor. You know, it all has to go into court costs. Now, historically, Paradise has had a very, very, very lenient municipal court, and there is not a lot of money in the municipal court fund yet. The court was very lenient in 22 and 23 and 24. In 2025, we were restructuring our municipal court and did not process hardly any tickets. But in August, just at the beginning of last month, we've really straightened things out and are firing on all cylinders. And so our court at New Fairview is up and running very smoothly. Our arrangement with Boyd has been working very well. I have met with our new Wise County municipal deputy. He's supposed to be starting this week. He will be in Monday next week at our regular council meeting to introduce himself to all of you. And so we'll go from 1 hour a week of police services to 21 hours a week of police services, and we will see what kind of operational results we get from that arrangement. We do not have any projected revenues or expenditures for this fund, simply because there's no way to predict what we will collect yet. We need the data, and there's not enough in there yet to know what we're going to spend it on. And so maybe this time next year we'll have a better idea of what we want to do with this fund. Are there any questions about this one? No? Okay, moving on. Next we get into the Capital Projects Fund. The Capital Projects Fund is interesting because it has no natural revenues. There are no fees, there are no tickets, there are no taxes that feed directly into the Capital Projects Fund. Money that goes into the Capital Projects Fund arrive essentially by two ways. The first one is by a fund transfer, probably from the general fund. And so if we have a lot of money left over in the general fund and we want to do a capital project, it's possible, if you coordinate it correctly, to transfer funds into the Capital Projects Fund. The money that we currently have within the Capital Projects Fund was transferred that way. Okay, so we have a significant amount of money in the Capital Projects Fund, and in past years that money was transferred in to the Capital Projects Fund. But that's not the normal way for money to get into the Capital Projects Fund. The normal way for money to get into the Capital Projects Fund is through debt issuances. And so, for example, when the school goes and they issue bonds for a big project, and they receive money from the sale of the bonds, where does that money go? It goes into their Capital Projects Fund. And that's how they track the money, to make sure that it's not going to wrong uses. Okay? So when the accountant comes in to do the audit at the end of the year, and they see, a Porsche listed on the Capital Projects Fund, well, they know that was the misuse of bond issued funds. You understand what I mean? We have no debt. The city has not issued debt as an entity. And so the only funds that we have in there right now is cash from the general fund. However, I think it is important to know that if we ever did issue debt, that it would go into this fund. We currently have $186,000 $186,501 in the Capital Improvement Fund. The interest that we are accruing on this, we expect it to be about $6,000 this year if we spend the $60,000 on road improvements. I want to clarify one thing that I should have said when I was discussing the general fund. Initially, in the general fund, we had $30,000 listed for road repairs. That is no longer in this version of the budget. Instead of $30,000 in the general fund, we have $60,000 in the capital improvement fund. I just wanted to make that clear for the group. So any road improvements that we would make this year would be coming out of the capital improvements fund, which is an appropriate use of these funds. Do I have any questions about the capital improvements fund?
Continue.
Okay, so we are now done with the governmental funds. Now we're going to transition into our proprietary funds. The big proprietary fund is the Water and Wastewater Fund. The fund is self-supporting. All of the operations of this fund should be covered by the revenues generated by water. Okay, it does happen in some cities and at some times that the water department doesn't make enough money to support its own operations. And when that time comes, you basically have two options. You can transfer funds from somewhere else, which is a legal discussion to make sure that you don't misallocate funds from other uses. Or you have to get the water department to raise more money. And how do you do that? Well, you got to adjust the water rates. Those are the two ways that you can change the amount of income that this department creates. Our Water and Wastewater Fund makes enough money. And so currently, this budget does not include any consideration of water rate changes. Going into the budget itself, we're starting out with $390,000, almost $391,000 in cash on hand. Our water sales bring in about $342,000 a year. That's been pretty steady. And now that we have our cash stored in interest-producing savings accounts, we're expecting to see about $10,000 in interest on that cash, bringing us up to $352,000 in revenue for fiscal year 26. When it comes into our expenditures, you're seeing a growth in payroll and benefits. If you'll recall, I told you earlier that we took our utility clerk off of the general fund and we put it into the water fund. That's what you're seeing with the growth in payroll. We're staying pretty steady at $4,700 in supplies, maintenance at $27,000. Utilities are staying steady at $5,500. Services at $163, a slight uptick based on basically engineering, some expectations that we have for some developments this year with our ground storage tank and possibly a development with our wastewater situation. And into our debt service with $43,600. That was debt that was issued on our behalf. That is not debt that we issued ourselves. We reimburse another organization for taking on that debt, and that's the amount that we pay on a yearly basis. And so our total expenditure is $342,530, leaving us with an anticipated cash balance at the end of the year of $400,488.50. Are there any questions about our water and wastewater fund? Okay. Going into our water impact fund, this is the final fund that we have. The water impact fund is so we have water impact fees as a city, and the way that works is we have a city, we already have a water system laid out. The water system that we have is adequate to service the residents that we already have within the city. But if a new person comes and they want to build a new building, that's going to take water away from the people who are already there. If some developer comes and wants to build a lot of buildings and we can't stop them, then that'll take up a lot of the water. that was already there. And so the city is going to be put in a situation where we already have a guy taking up all the water, but we haven't yet received any revenues from property or sales tax to expand our water infrastructure. And so to fix that problem, when a new person comes and wants to build within the city, they have to pay what's called a water impact fee. The fee is small for small builders and large for large builders, in accordance with the amount of water that they take up. That money is taken from the water impact fees, it's put into an account, and that account is used to help us either plan or actually build expansions to our water delivery system, to our water system. Okay, so currently we have $188,834.52. Each year we've been collecting about $35,000 in water impact fees, and that's fine. Bringing our total revenues up to $35,000. When it comes to expenditures, we've been letting this money sit for a few years, and the reason that we have is because we've had these ARPA funds out of COVID, the American Recovery Plan Act. And that money, those federal dollars that were given have helped us to do a lot of planning for ground storage, for maintenance of our existing storage, for development of our pipes and our water mains, and for consideration of plans for sewer. That money, those federal dollars are finally starting to run out, and so we will transition towards using these water impact fees in the coming years. $190,000 is not even nearly anything when it comes to the actual cost of building infrastructure. Simply to build a ground storage tank within city limits is going to cost in the millions of dollars. So what does $190,000 do for us? Well, it's probably going to go towards some sort of engineering and planning. That is not yet allotted because everything that we've had up to this point has been covered by ARPA or by some sort of grant. And so those funds can be assigned when the time comes to use them. Do I have any questions about this fund? And that is the end of my brief.
Thank you. Very informative. All right, next up, we have our citizens communication. I don't know if we had any cards up there. This is not the public hearing part. We will get to the budget and tax rate public hearing. So anything not on the public hearing, if anyone wishes to speak. So I don't know if we had cards up there or not for anyone to sign up on. We may not have. I did. Me. No. And I'm gonna have them all up on. Okay, good. We do. Mr. Salerno. All right, he got a card in. So he'll get to go first, and then we'll come to you.
I feel like we moved this a whole lot closer.
You can move it back if you like.
Scared me. That's
Yeah.
what are we doing here? I have stuff I would like to hand out if that's okay to the council and Ms. Van. No.
Oh, I guess I should give my disclosure. If it's not on the agenda, we cannot deliberate,
Yes.
and generally a 3-minute time limit. All those.
So anyways, I handed you a packet out in regards to some of the rules and regulations around annexation. So I'm here to speak to the group and urge the city council to think reasonably about the annexation. I'm sorry, did I miss you? We were talking, and I just went, on this side, that one hit me last time. As you know, there's been a lot of discussions around that annexation, but I did want to give you some proof points of why Rimmler Ridge and we're so adamant about it. Got a whole lot you can do from law, but the one thing that is obvious from the law is the ability to avoid an annexation due to procedural errors. So on the first page there, you see the code. I urge all of you to do your research on the local code, section 43, in regards to annexation. The first part says that annexation must be completed in 90 days. This annexation was not completed until 7/17 of 25, when the proper documentation was filed to the county. As you continue to go on to page 2 of your documents, it says challenges to annexations. An annexation may be voidable when the city had the authority to annex, but procedural errors occurred during the process. Not completing it in a 90-day would be a procedural error. On the next page, a development agreement must be given to the developer. It must be rejected by the developer in order for an annexation to be correct. I have had a Public Information Act for a while now, and I've yet to receive a copy of the development agreement. So that has to be filed. And at the very bottom, it says, must the city offer a development agreement even if the landowner voluntarily seeks for annexation? The answer is yes. That's number 2, procedural error. Then the rest of this documentation is simply the proof points of when the finalization of the annexation was. As you can see, the service plan was not filed until 7/17 of 25. On the next page, the copy of the map plat signed by Ms. Black as mayor was not filed until 11/29 of 21. So we're talking over a year for the map to be filed with the county, and we're talking 5 years for the rest of the documentation to be filed. Now, I understand that there was extreme circumstances, but any reasonable person or reasonable judge would agree that 1 year or 5 years is way too long for the process to continue. The last question I would ask is about the notarization of the service plan. The service plan was notarized apparently on September 28th of 2020 by the notary. We have proof of that here, but on the public information of who attended, the notary was not in attendance at that meeting. So I'm concerned about how the notary applied that. So I'm asking the city council to do your research. I'm also asking you and urging you to change your agenda for next week's meeting, for voting on whether you're going to rezone the land from agriculture to residential, and change that to whether or not the annexation of Windmill Ridge Estates is still valid. The procedural errors were there. Any reasonable judge would see that the procedural errors occurred, and I'm asking you to be a reasonable when you come to that decision next week. Thank you for your time.
Okay, is there anyone else? Oh, wait, no, hold on, he got up before. So I remember to call you, don't get me in trouble. Okay, Pam, we're gonna get to the budget at the hearing. Good? Okay.
I just have one question. Referencing back to what you said earlier,
State your name so that she can make a record of
Larry
it.
Sled.
Sorry about that. Okay, please continue.
Referencing back to what you said earlier about the deputy going to be in the city. I live on 380 Old Town Road, and I understand we don't have no police, but they fly 100 mile an hour down that road. What are the options of getting speed bumps, some type of, we got kids.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I just asked to do something there, because it's, you're building a high school right across the field from me. Perfect, I'm happy, but we gotta do something right there before somebody gets killed. Final question. Why are the buildings allowed to water whenever we only get to water 1 day?
They're under the same restrictions. Give us a call and let us know.
Yeah.
That's all we can do about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I understand.
and then we can reach out to them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else for the public comment section? Anyone? Anyone? All right, we will close citizen comments. Oh, wait, hold on. Mr. Hickman, that was you. Or are you? I'm sorry, I'm take it back. We're gonna reopen. Cause are you doing for the budget and public hearing or is something else?
It's on the budget.
On the budget. Okay, so I'm gonna put, you're gonna be budget. I don't be doing the
That's
public
fine.
hearing then.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. It's cool. I didn't wanna,
It's all part of the budget.
okay. Budget. Got you. Okay.
Okay, no consent items?
No consent items. Moving on to the deliberation agenda. All right, here we go.
Ma'am, this is the ordinance for the adoption of the proposed budget for this fiscal year. The budget comes first, is voted upon, and then the tax rate comes afterwards. Thank you.
Alrighty. So I will open the public hearing to consider adoption of the proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26. I do have a couple of people already signed up for the public hearing, so I will go ahead and call y'all up. Pam, I got your card first, so would you like to go?
So I'm Pam Martin. I pulled this off of the website, so mine's a little bit different than what he kind of went over. He answered a lot of the questions. So it splits it out into like advertising, went from $500 to $13,000. Is that just all this stuff y'all have to put in the papers cost that much?
Well, some of that is there's a lot of public notices that have to go in, but we've also, as part of trying to get in community engagement and transparency, have enlisted someone to help us with our Facebook and social media postings, so to help get the word out. And there's not, it's, right now that's kind of a placeholder, it's kind of a new, but it's to help get the word out, so not,
All right. The EDC, so what I'll do is I don't go to their meetings. Is that mainly to help keep some of these businesses open that?
they do, their primary goal, they get a portion of the sales tax revenue, so a half cent of the sales tax revenue goes to them, and they are charged with using that to help the small businesses here become more successful, or even to bring in small businesses to help generate more sales tax.
Did they pick up the Veterans Park, the EDC? Someone does a nice job.
Yeah, I think the Historical Society,
I wasn't sure who did that.
they really do, yeah, they have someone on retainer to take care of it. Yeah, Jim Taylor.
Okay. We have the code enforcer officer. I met with him the other day because we got a sign on our property. I think the city needs to lead by example, though. There are several cars on some of the council members' areas that need mowing and didn't get signs on theirs. So again, I think the city needs to lead by example. I did know they did mow the Bridges place today, which looks mighty nice. Since the water thing is down, that helped as well. So just, I assume that those code violations, are they sent over to,
Yes, ma'am, those are all handled through the municipal court.
so they go over that way too?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know who gets charged or what for those, but ours is cleaned up now. Let's see. Oh, the Public Works repairs, maintenance, you said that had been moved to the other side?
So that can be confusing. We have a utilities clerk.
Okay,
So she is a clerk. She's the one that you call when you call about your water.
okay,
Previously, half of her pay was getting paid out of the general fund because she works on general fund stuff. And the other half was getting paid out of the water. But now our water has made enough and we've redistributed enough that we were able to get her position all the way paid for by water.
okay, so that's the 52,000 is her position, is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, and then the 73,000 that's on the water fund is our gentleman that sits up there all day long. Is that correct?
May I, Steve?
The water operator?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this the water operators?
A large part of that is the water operator. Not all of it, but a lot of it is.
So, and then this one on here is the clerk.
No, ma'am, that's the official.
Who's the official?
The official is, that's the, safe building.
Who?
Safe bill.
I don't know which one. Safe build. Do what?
Third-party inspections.
The code enforcement, Safe Build is both code enforcement and,
Building
No,
inspection.
building
inspections.
officers up here.
you're looking on the general fund?
Official is, it's under public works, repairs and maintenance,
The,
$52,584.
one second. That is, yes, the public works official, he does more than just water. So he does the
So
the
his
water
salary-
installation, but he also does the mowing of Cedar Bend and filling of potholes and things, so his.
So I thought his salary is the 73,000 over here then,
The,
under the wastewater.
So that's not one person's salary. That's all of the costs associated with payroll that are accounted for under.
So I thought we only had the
Water.
one person with water.
We do, but it's not only paychecks, right? Because you also have to pay for your FICA, you have to pay for Social Security and Medicare, you have to pay for
government,
retirement, you have to pay for health insurance, you have to pay for training,
there it is.
all the things that go into having a person.
Alright, it just seems strange that you've got it in two different areas when y'all said it has to be in one, so I don't see it on there, so that kinda is very confusing.
Well, one of them is the actual employee of the city and the other one is a contracted service. Does that make sense? It's like he's not an employee of the city, we contract with a company to provide his services.
Alright. So you kinda went into what the water person does up there, so he mows what? I've seen another gentleman mow, not him, with a zero turn, the tower.
We don't have the mower for the small regular, but he uses the big tractor with the
He's one that
Brush hog,
does the bridge.
Cedar Bend and the larger
So the
areas.
gentleman, where does he fall at that mows that, plus mows where Officer Reyes told me that was DOT, but he mows at the corner going to Dollar General.
That's a contracted service from the general
A
fund.
lot of contractors.
Yeah, that's right, because building your internal departments is really expensive, so we have to do a lot of contracted third-party services, so we contract with a local person to do a smaller landscaping, because we don't have the equipment or the personnel to do that.
But that seems, well, okay, I'm not gonna get into that, I've been up here to talk to him, so. Okay, y'all answered that. So. On the property taxes, so last year's was 345,000. And so we went down this year to 330,000 in property taxes, so how does it go down when property taxes go up? And there's more houses being built? Have we stopped building houses?
We actually
We
did
ran out
start
of room?
houses. But the reason that it dropped, the 345 that you saw last year, was the budgeted amount that we expected to see.
Correct.
And so, when the county appraisal district releases the tax rolls for the coming year,
The paper.
right, we see a projected number, and last year for fiscal year 25, it was projected to be 345. But enough people either didn't pay or protested that it took us down, that it took us down to 330. And so we were expecting 345, but we got 330, which is fine. And so this year, we're just taking that into account and rolling with 330.
Most of us are, over 65 then.
Well, yeah,
As well.
things like that.
In the town of Paradise. Let's see, I think you answered everything else. Let me check these papers. So, safety. Can I address that here with the budget from the, capital projects fund that we didn't spend? So I talked to Kobe Shawn, who is our commissioner here,
Right?
about the S-curves going down toward the new school.
Yes.
And he said he had talked to Mr. Potts, and they had an agreement that he would, straighten out those S-curves. The county would if we paid for the materials and the city refused.
We didn't refuse, it's just,
Well, I mean, there's the money.
we have to continue to talk about it and see if that is the way they wanna go.
Yeah.
We've spoken about it in passing, but haven't had a what is this gonna take, real conversation about it. It's just been something we've spoken about in passing.
Also, I talked to him about
Right.
Old Town Road. I don't know who stood up and asked about the speed bumps.
He don't.
He's gone, okay.
I've already asked him about that.
No, but he said also, I asked him if it was gonna be widened with the county putting a road out through there, and he's working on that as well.
He is,
I'm concerned for the safety. Again, our roads are narrow.
they are.
We've outlived them, been here all my life. And the cars that do speed up and down them are bad. So I'm hoping he can, but the city's gotta work with them. I know, it's
Work with them
going
quite
towards
well.
school, so, we really need to get those S curves by Mr. Potts. Would be nice to get those at least straightened out.
So here's a question though, if we take those S curves out, and this is my concern, they're just gonna, yeah, straight shot, speed up and phew, through there. Is that not a concern?
Right now, I see it at night.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I
do.
hear it at night.
Oh, I do too. I'm right up there by you.
So that, we'll continue to have this conversation as I talk with Colby and we plan out projects, but
Yeah, something
that's
needs
a
to be
concern
done. We're
too.
gonna have to clear, the grass is so high you can't see around the corners right now
Yeah.
anyway.
yeah.
I have pictures of those if
I
anybody would
think
like
that
to
would be
see
an
them.
indicator for people to slow down, you can't see, right?
Slow down.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how to, my fence is.
Oh, your fence, I know,
My fence has been run through.
I know, and the Smiths
Over
and the
the
other. I agree, so.
okay.
But those are things, like I say, I did talk to the commissioner. He did come and mow up and down Old Town as well, so that helped.
Yeah.
as well. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Hickman.
My name's Shannon Hickman. I'm here to discuss what we are being sold. Basically what it comes down to is everybody here that has bought in the last 15 to 20 years bought into a small town. I bought into a small town. I did not buy in Boyd. I did not buy in Bridgeport, Decatur, or Springtown. I bought in Paradise because I want the small town feel. What this young man is selling y'all and has been selling this city is to build Paradise into Boyd, Bridgeport, Decatur, Springtown. That is not what we bought. We did not buy into a town that had the restaurants, had the businesses, had all the little stores, had everything that we are being sold here. We didn't buy there because we didn't want the traffic. We didn't want the issues that come with the growth. It's that simple. The growth brings problems. And I have not yet heard a good solution to the problems. The streets not being big enough. Lady just got finished saying the streets aren't big enough. They're not big enough now. What's going to happen if we put in a wastewater treatment plant and somebody right down the road here inside the city limits decides, oh, well, I've got 150 acres. Guess what? I can put quarter-acre lots in here now and put 400 houses in. Now all of a sudden, you just doubled the size of Paradise. Roads aren't big enough now. The city will not be able to handle that. There's no way. It won't be able to handle that in 5 years. Even with that extra income, it would take more than 5 years to build it. The majority of this town has literally bought a house in this town in the last 10 years. 10 years ago, these subdivisions that are inside the city limits were not there. If they were just starting. Maybe putting a road in here or there, a couple of the houses, but realistically, for the most part, they were not here. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about spending a bucket of money on a wastewater treatment plant when all these houses have brand new septic systems in their backyards.
Amen.
I don't know what the breakdown of one of these new systems cost. I don't know. I just bought my house 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Anyway, this year, What's gonna happen when that wastewater treatment plant goes in? Is the city gonna turn around and condemn all the septic systems in the town? That's what happened when they put in a water well. They condemned everybody's water wells in the town. Yeah, they did. They condemned mine, and I lived out here off 114, and they never tested my water either.
TCEQ might have.
Huh?
TCEQ might have. But at that time, I don't think the city had anybody to do that.
All I know is my water well got condemned, and we were forced into city water. So
Well,
is the city gonna turn around and force us onto the wastewater treatment plant? That's the bottom line.
as long as it's functioning, I mean, because there are cities out there where.
What, this isn't on the agenda, right?
Well,
I know, sorry.
But-
Them's the rules.
But the wastewater treatment plant is on the agenda. It's part of the budget, and that's part of the agenda.
It's not a line item though.
But that is money that the majority of the citizens in this town, that's something we don't need. We don't need it, we don't want it. Because the simple fact of the matter is, you build a wastewater treatment plant right down here, I don't care which direction you live, at some point in time, you're gonna smell it. If anybody has ever lived within 5 miles of a wastewater treatment plant, you know it.
Have you talked to the school about their system?
Oh, I remember when the school had their system down here, and I remember smelling that system when I lived up here.
Do you have any questions specific to the budget though? I mean, I can understand, I'd be happy to talk with you some other time about
Well,
the issues with growth and how it comes and what we can do with it, but for
I
the
mean,
public hearing for the
we're
budget.
talking about spending $60,000 on sidewalks here in town. It's 100 feet of sidewalk. According to the budget y'all laid out last week, that's basically, I think it came out to 105 feet. That's 1,000 feet. Okay, 1,000 feet. So that gets you from what, here to Schoolhouse Road, maybe? That's roughly
The
1,000 feet.
project is in its infancy to try
Yeah.
to figure out what can be done,
What
what
I'm
people
saying
want to
is-
see, where can we start? I mean, you have to start somewhere or you never go anywhere.
So, that's the
But
thing about
it's
it. Do the citizens of this city want to go to, do they want to build to the size of Boyd, Bridgeport, Decatur? I'll guarantee you right now, I do not want this town to become the size of Springtown. I remember when Springtown wasn't much bigger than Paradise is now. I remember my classmates coming to preschool in Paradise because Paradise School was bigger than Springtown's. And I can tell you right now, I've got 50 acres in Springtown. I don't live in Springtown because of Springtown. I would not want my kids to live in Springtown. Y'all hired this man, and he comes in here and he does a good job of selling growth to Paradise. Problem is, I don't think the citizens of Paradise want the growth, and they don't want all the budgets that y'all are throwing up here. We want to remain a small town. Thank you.
thank you. All right. Jennifer Hickman.
Jennifer Hickman. I had some questions about the budget.
Sure.
The general fund, can I get a few examples of what internal services cover?
Is that the $135,000 item?
Yes.
That is the transfer to the EDC.
EDC. That's their portion of the sales tax. So the sales tax revenue income line, that's all of the sales tax, and then the half-cent part of it that goes to the EDC, that's the $135,000 that goes back out to them.
Okay, what is EDC?
The Economic Development Corporation.
Okay. Regarding the brand new security and technology fees. Who
that
gets
fund.
that?
Who gets the,
Where does that money go?
Are we talking about the municipal court?
Yes.
Those are collected for us by the city of New Fairview and remitted to us directly.
and it goes into that account, so it can be spent on certain things that are court-related, software, ticket books, things that have to do with running the court. So there's specific funds that can be used for that. Right, but we like provided them with a laptop. We have to pay for our own software. They just operate it for us, but we still have to provide certain items and subscriptions and stuff.
Okay. We already talked about sidewalks. The water fund excess that y'all keep talking about so happily, well, it's because we're all paying crazy high water bills, is what it feels like. Because our water rates are higher than other cities, which has been brought up in the last few meetings, but I won't harp on that. The water impact fund, why is there no interest line for that?
That's not in an interest earning account.
Why not? That's $188,000.
I know, it probably should just be transferred into one, but when it was set up, that was the account that it was.
I mean, it doesn't make
Put
sense
in.
that that money's not making any interest.
Right. We can. It's one of the First National Bank accounts.
Yes.
I think it earns like very, very little.
I'm in
It is
finance.
definitely something that we can.
I'm in finance, trust me,
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
Would,
So, yeah,
would we get into a higher interest rate, like limit our ability to get it?
No, it's the, if we open up a account like we did for the ICS accounts, the other ones, those are still, we can transfer out of those and get to them if we need to spend them relatively easy, which is one of the reasons we went to those, so it does make sense to move those and move the fund into something like that.
Yeah, cause
Yeah.
that's just wasting money if you're.
Right, no, I agree.
Okay. Okay, that was all I had.
Thank you. All right, that's all the cards I have. But before I close the public hearing, is there anyone else who wishes to address the council in the public hearing over the budget? All right, and the public hearing is closed. Now, all right. Andrea, I want to be sure that we get the properly worded motion, right?
So I sent you the motion language for the tax, just for the tax.
Just the tax one. So for the,
For the budget, we'll need to do a record vote, which just means we go through the whole line and get everybody on the record about how they voted, rather than just numbers.
okay.
And then we'll move
This
on.
is the record vote on here, or just,
On the first page.
yeah, I'm just making sure. I think there's a spot in the ordinance where it needs to be. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now I need a motion to approve the ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 annual budget. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the budget for 25-26.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, so as she said, this is a record vote, so I'll need to go one by one for your vote. Cody Anderson,
Yes.
Paul Potts,
Yes.
Cody Cook,
Yes.
Matthew Whitten,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
All right, motion passes unanimously. The budget is adopted.
And moving on.
Moving on.
The next item is the adoption of the ad valorem sales tax. This is the property tax, excuse me, I misspoke. The ad valorem tax, which is the property tax. We are proposing to continue the property tax at its current rate of 34.5 cents per $100. This is the same tax rate as last year, and this would be the 6th year in a row that the city has been able to maintain this current tax rate.
All right, so with that, we will open the public hearing over the adoption of the fiscal year 2026 tax rate. Is there anyone, I don't have any cards for tax rate, but is there anyone who wants to address the council in the public hearing for the tax rate? And hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Okay, now, Andrea.
Yes.
Come here. Making sure that we get. Okay, so we have
So this may be,
a
last chance he did these numbers, so I don't,
Yes.
Oh, no. Is there specific statutory language that they have to use for their motion?
So we wanna be sure
We're
we
just
get the
filling
motion
in
right.
numbers, and I don't. I'm more familiar with the numbers.
One
Go
moment.
into those blanks than I am. I can give you the legal language. The numbers. And of course, it depends what you all decide.
Which is effectively a
Look, it's right here.
the grammar of this is confusing to me.
In our legislature's infinite wisdom.
Well,
State law.
now,
The way that I'm understanding this, the verbiage would be, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.345,
Yes.
which is effectively a 3.4%
Mhm.
increase, and which exceeds the no new revenue tax rate
Yeah.
by 0.012. We need to subtract that.
yeah, we wanna be sure we get the verbiage of the motion down right, so we're gonna go ahead and recess and make sure we make this motion clear for everybody. And then we're voting ourselves, because they like to change what we have to do. So we'll take about 10-minute recess.
I think it's simpler than that.
Make sure the
I think it's
Well, that's very simple. So.
It's just letting everybody know.
Y'all would please fill in my paper.
I'll bring it back.
I'm like, wait a minute, how am I supposed to circle?
And then did you, at the end of the, after we do this whole item, ratify?
In the good old days, we would say, make a motion, we approve this tax rate. I can't do that now.
Every